All right, what's up, failers? RJ from Reality Fitness with another boxing video. Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Who wins? So this is the biggest fight that can possibly happen in boxing right now. Outside of maybe another Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, which is highly unlikely, this is the thing that boxing really needs to really put itself back at the forefront of combat sports, and just to have this big spectacle that'll get so many eyes and so much attention to the sport. And it's truly a special fight. And I think in the end, we as fans win as a result of this, because it's been so long, so long since we've seen two special heavyweight fighters in boxing fight each other. When I say special, I mean guys that could be champs in any era. Guys that could stand a chance against any of the all-time greats that you would put in front of them. They'd have a chance of beating them. I believe that's who Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury are. Either of these guys, I would give a chance against an Ali, a Mike Tyson, a Lennox Lewis. All these all-time great fighters that truly are not only just Hall of Famers, but have left immortal impacts on the sport of boxing. So to see these two guys finally face off against each other, that will be truly a great and special event for our sport. But who do I think will win? Honestly, in my heart of hearts, at the moment, I'm leaning towards Anthony Joshua. And I know that outside of maybe the UK boxing circle, that might be an unpopular opinion to have, because it seems like everywhere else in the world, people want to pick Tyson Fury. And I understand that. I understand that line of thinking, because Fury has, the second longest reach in boxing history. He's undefeated. Some people just look at the record and they say, well, he hasn't lost, Joshua has, but that's not a good argument to make. But good arguments to make for Tyson Fury are his reach, his superb boxing ability, his unorthodox, herky-jerky sort of style, plus that new addition to his style, the Kronk style, developed by the late, great Emanuel Stewart, that has been carried on by his nephew, I believe, either his nephew or his grandson, who's Sugar Hill Stewart is his name. He's training Tyson Fury now. We saw him display just a tiny amount of that against Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury is a relatively new student to the Kronk style, but with the relatively low amount of training he has in that style, he just absolutely dismantled Deontay Wilder. So it'll be very interesting to see how much further Tyson Fury can progress and get settled into that Kronk style. Because Sugar Hill Stewart, related to the great Emanuel Stewart, Emanuel Stewart saved many careers. He saved Lennox Lewis's career, and Lennox went on to become an all-time great. There's no disputing that. He saved Vladimir Klitschko's career. Vladimir is an all-time great. There's no disputing that. No matter the shady stuff you might want to bring up about him, but he certainly won a lot, didn't he? So to have an association with that Stewart family and that Kronk style, that could go a long way for Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury's already he's already cut from a different cloth. To come back from what he came back from is unprecedented. I don't think it's ever been done before in the history of the sport. So I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Tyson Fury won. And I understand all the arguments for Tyson Fury. However, my mind is leaning towards AJ, and it's for this reason. Anthony Joshua is special too. Anthony Joshua is driven and confident beyond what 99% of people could ever hope to be. And I know I sound like a fanboy and like I'm licking his nuts right now, but let me make my case. Who else takes an immediate rematch against a guy that knocked them the hell out? Ruiz had Joshua stumbling all over the ring. And Joshua says, I want that smoke again. No hesitation, no tune-up fights. Even the great Lennox Lewis, he didn't go straight after Rahman, after he got knocked the heck out. The hell out! You know? He had some tune-up fights. He had to get his confidence back. Same thing with Vladimir Klitschko. He never went straight after the guys that beat him, especially the ones that knocked him out. He had to get his confidence back. Joshua said, "My confidence never left." And he simply reinvented himself and got that decision victory, a dominant decision win over Ruiz in that immediate rematch. Joshua has continuously evolved since then. You saw in Pulev, he kind of carried Pulev. He could have gotten out of there in 2 or 3 rounds if he wanted to. But Joshua has evolved to the point where he was just messing with Pulev, just straight up carrying him to these later rounds, just for the sake of having more rounds. We've seen Joshua incorporate new things into his style, such as the pull counter. And it's interesting that Joshua has been, he's had a friendship with Floyd Mayweather, and he's incorporating some of these shoulder roll type moves with that pull counter, and just staying behind his jab more and being a bit more cautious. Now, against a guy like Fury, you don't want to be too cautious because he'll just simply make you pay. He'll do his herky-jerky thing and literally lead you into a looping left hook or some kind of shot from an awkward angle that you'll never see coming. But Joshua's just so patient. And if he perfects that to where he just sees the openings and he works and takes what you give him, he has that special power and just that grittiness about him that leads me to believe that he'll catch Fury eventually. Fury's not going to pull a Vladimir Klitschko Tyson Fury fight on him where he just confuses him and makes it to where Joshua can't even attempt to throw a solid shot all night because he's too confused. That's just simply not going to happen. Okay, Joshua, first of all, he has that film to look back on, so that same strategy won't work. And not only that, but Joshua's different from Vladimir. Joshua, while he might be more cautious, he won't be gun shy. Because like I said, he could have gotten Pulev out of there in 2 rounds if he wanted to, but he carried him. The way I see it happening, Joshua is going to be very hard on himself in camp. He's going to study a lot of film, and he's going to know exactly what he needs to do to beat Fury. And special fighters are willing to do whatever it takes. So if that takes digging in and risking eating some hard shots in order to dig into Fury's body and wear him down, Joshua will do that. And ultimately, I think it's going to come down to a battle of physicality. You're going to have the bigger but somehow less powerful Fury versus the slightly smaller but harder hitting Anthony Joshua. I believe this fight will become a physical one, and it will become less about skill as the fight goes on because both men will start to get tired. And I think, honestly, in those later rounds, it just leans more and more towards Joshua because Joshua has that eraser in either hand, especially with that vicious uppercut he can hit you with. So I'm leaning towards Joshua, potentially by stoppage, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a decision and maybe they do a draw. If it goes to a decision, it'll probably be a draw. Even if it isn't, even if Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua are clear winners, they'll make it a draw no matter what for that second fight, to build that second fight up. But I could easily see Anthony Joshua stopping Tyson Fury. And I could also see Fury stopping Anthony Joshua. Because like I said, these guys are both special. And we're truly privileged that we get to witness this fight.